Hi, I'm Ingrid Hahn. Thank you for joining me for Historical Romance Appreciation number 7. Very glad you're here, and I'm very excited, as always, to talk about books. I finished this book this week. I was very excited. Claire Delacroix, Enchanted. First, tropes. Marriage of Convenience, Beauty and the Beast, Curse. I think it lends itself very nicely to comparisons with movies like Willow or Legend. There's a strong Lady Hawk element, so that works nicely. Criticisms. The hero and heroine are not together enough, so it does not lend itself very easily to romance. The hero has a huge problem with blowing little tiny things way out of proportion and just making these huge assumptions, and it's just very irritating. I love that the heroine, though, tells the hero when he's completely full of it. Not sure where she falls in love with him, that's okay. I didn't really care for the gin thing, I would have done that differently myself, that's okay. I didn't really like the ending. I'm glad I pushed through, though, because at the end of chapter 12, there's a very, very nice little twist that I really liked. Gonna file that one away. Hero's mother, at the very end, says, "What happened to the horse that you left with when you went off to the Crusades?" And he's like, "Well, that horse didn't do very well in the heat." And she's like, "Well, could you have picked a bigger or blacker one?" And I just wasn't really sure that black horses did that well in the heat either. Maybe there's something I don't know. I'm not a horse expert. Actually, I don't know very much about horses at all. But it struck me as being a little, And there's this part where the heroine throws a guest out of her palace, and it just seems like a huge breach against hospitality, which I think would have been just a huge deal at the time. I have some other historical questions. The heroine at the beginning of the book is off to a convent, and she has no dowry and she has no lands. And again, I'm not a medieval expert either, but my understanding is that convents and abbeys were extremely wealthy places at this time. If you could hear the music, that's my husband. I don't know that they would have accepted a woman without a dowry or without any land. I just don't think they did that. And when the hero and the heroine get married, the hero says that the marriage ceremony is the only sacrament for which a priest is not required. I'd never heard that before. Doesn't mean it's not true, but I had not heard it before. So I finished that, and now I'm on to The Sergeant's Temptation, another State of the Union book by Sophia Sasson. I'm extremely excited about that one. And Diane, Gaston, A Reputation for Notoriety. I recorded this yesterday, but my kid just kept... He wanted my attention. He was off at Target with his father and then came back. I was just like, "I need you, Mommy." Totally understand. He's 2. He needs me a lot. That's fine. But I couldn't do the video very well, and I had picked out something else to tell you that I was going to read, and I started it last night, but I'm not going to be able to read that book, so it's good that I can re-record this. That book, there is just flip back and forth between POVs and scenes, like every few paragraphs, hero, heroine, and I'm a lazy reader now or something, because I just couldn't follow it. It was too much for me. I'm going to read you a little bit from The Sergeant's Temptation by Sophia Sasson. This is on page 15, very, very beginning. This really got me interested in the book. I mean, I was interested anyway, but this is just like, yes. Alyssa took several deep breaths so she'd be prepared to be neutral and deferential when Lieutenant Williams, returned to tell her she couldn't have the job. She'd seen it all over the old colonel's face when she'd pinned her opponent to the ground. He wasn't the first officer to give her the look of disbelief and disgust. She was a woman. How dare she show herself to be stronger and more capable than a man? We have come a long way in romance. Romance has really matured and developed in a very positive and smart way. This book doesn't suffer from that old school hero and heroine going to bed together under less than ideal circumstances thing that is, today. It's very sex positive. Romance in general today is very sex positive. If it's not, doesn't have sex in it, that's fine. It's still a romance, but the ones that include sex are very sex positive. But we are not needlework positive. It is a huge cliche for a historical heroine to be bad at needlework, to have a comedic element where she's trying to do something in embroidery and, it looks like something else, and she just can't do it. She just doesn't have the patience for it. And that drives me up a tree. It doesn't add anything to character at this point. It's okay not to like needlework. It's okay not to be good at it. But it's a cliche at this point, and I think we need to do better. The authors who do really good with this stuff tend to be knitters themselves or fiber artists of some kind. Elizabeth Boyle, she's a knitter. There's a very cute scene in one of her books where the heroine is knitting, or maybe it's a side character, but there's a scene between, two love interests, and she's knitting in the round, I think, and He's talking to her about life on the ship, and of course sailors can knit, and she's like, prove it, and he takes a turn around the pins, needles of their time. Maybe still in the UK today, I don't know. Anyway, it's very cute. And Tessa Dare, I suspect, but do not know, is either a knitter, a crocheter, a spinner. She has a series called Spindle Cove, like drop spindle. She has sheep and lambs in her book, and you usually come by a liking of sheep and lambs, honestly, if you don't live in the country, by being a fiber artist. She probably knits or crochets. She has a very cute scene or one sort of motif through either One Dance with the Duke or Last Dance with the Duke, when the heroine does a beautiful piece of embroidery, and the hero recognizes the artistry of it, and he frames it on the wall, maybe in his bedroom or dressing table. Very cute. I love it. We need to be needlework positive. We are not any less as women if we like traditionally girly things. It's fine not to like that. I don't care, but we just need to have heroines who can be badass at motorcycle maintenance or repair or fix up old cars or run a bakery or a library, use bookstore, feed the poor, whatever, and also do needlework. And like, it's okay. Like riding horses across the moors versus knitting or embroidery, it's not the same thing. Knitting and embroidery is not boring. It is very meditative and very interesting, and it's a very different thing than the athleticism of riding a horse, or the intellect that goes into machinery, or the chemistry that goes into cooking, anything like that. So I'd really like us to do better as authors. Needlework positive. Okay, I'm just going to say one more thing about this book, and then I will be quiet about it forever. But I have cast the hero and heroine in my imaginary movie that I will not be writing a treatment for. I think the hero should be that kid from that young man who plays Hook on Once Upon a Time without the eyeliner. And I think the heroine, Annalise, or Unlease, it's a little hard to say, but I think she should be Emma Stone, who I think could do the sass beautifully. I finished Diane Gaston, A Reputation for Notoriety. Ate this one up. She's a very clean writer. She writes very likable characters. I was reading along and I was like, I should really pay attention to how she does that so I can learn something. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to enjoy the book. It's really fun. I'm not going to say anything about her now. I'm going to save this for October. I'm going to save my Goodreads review for October as well. I have written it up, saved it in a document so I don't have to think about it later. I just have to copy and paste it in. But for the October book extravaganza, I'm going to do a video episode featuring books with masks on the cover. So I also started this one. It's like August. I'm totally getting ready for this October thing already. This is the second in the Masquerade Club series. As soon as I finished the other one last night, I was like, I need this one now. I need to find out what happens to Philippa and Xavier. And this is not historical romance, but mask on the cover. Okay, that's going to be fun. Okay, just kidding. I'm going to say one little thing about Diane Gaston right now. I think, like Mary Balog, she's an author you want to turn to if you want a book to get you through a tough time. She writes full of hope. The characters face problems that are very relatable, but not too weird. Not weird at all, actually. And it's very easy to get yourself immersed in it. You don't have to... This is not a criticism. This is a compliment. It'll sound maybe like a criticism, but it is absolutely not. You don't have to think too hard when you're reading it. When you're reading it, it really comes to you quickly and easily. That's just the power of her writing. It's not a criticism. Just because you have to work at something doesn't mean it's automatically better. Sometimes that's not true at all. But if you're going through a tough time and need some hope, like with any of the recent events in the world, she's your author. Okay, some other books featuring masks on the cover. This is not my definitive list. This is just something I pulled from my shelves really quickly to show you. But I'm hoping to get to them before October so I can talk about them. I may or may not, depending on how my reading life goes. Eva Lee, mask on the cover, Forever Your Earl. Eloisa James, When the Duke Returns. I love that. The black is so cool. Sophie Barnes, The Trouble with Being a Duke. I think this is a Cinderella story. And I did not mean to do this at all, but I went to a thrift store a few weeks ago after I had decided to do the mask thing, and I was looking through the books, wasn't going to buy anything. One of the first books I picked out was this one, Tiger Prince by Iris Johansen. It says historical novel on the side. I'm pretty sure it's romance. I will be hopefully reading this. If I don't, that's okay. I'm so glad I bought it. Come on, baby. There you go. Say bye.